Gordon Klingenschmidt is a state house member here in Colorado. I don't know how many of you know about the issue that happened, what happened to the young woman. It's horrifying. A young woman who was 7 months pregnant answered an ad to go, which was supposedly selling baby clothes, and went to this lady's place, and this lady assaulted her, and this is horrifying, I gotta warn you. She cut the baby out of her with a knife. She left the mom to die in a back room, bleeding, and she took the baby, and she's incredibly ill. She was going to tell her husband it was her baby. She's just crazy. But anyway, the baby died. And so there's obviously dispute over whether or not it was murder or not. I think it was. But what happened is Gordon Klingenschmidt, he happens to be a well-known firebrand. I mean, we've got a well-known Republican activist here in Colorado who has already put together a Facebook page that has been there for a better part of a year, I guess, simply calling for his removal, saying this man should not represent us.
So he's been in Colorado elected politics for a while now?
Yeah, he's in a protected district, and
okay.
But he is somebody who, in his religious, you see, he does a YouTube religious thing, Pray in Jesus' Name, I think it's called, and he will make comments, and he believes that anything he says there is not reflective of his role in the state house. But the problem is it still reflects upon him. Okay, it's, there's no way around that. And he has actually made a number of statements that this guy is basically Todd Akin on steroids. So anyway, when this happened with this woman, he comes out and he cites this, and he says, I'm quoting him here, "This is the curse of God upon America for our sin of not protecting innocent children in the womb. And part of that curse for our rebellion against God as a nation is that our pregnant women are ripped open." Well, obviously that's incredibly inflammatory. All the Republicans immediately distanced themselves and said he does not represent us. But nobody took him off a committee position. Nobody's asked for him to step down. Nobody's done anything. I think the guy should step down immediately.
So it's the kind of reprimand and naysaying that goes on in Washington, where we act like and we say we disagree with you and we say that what you did was a bad thing, but there's no repercussions for it. There's no punishment. There's no need for you to even really stop doing it. All I want is the PR of saying that I disagree with what you're doing.
Right, and and it's the age-old question: how quickly do we turn on our own and eat them? Because let's face it, the left scares us into turning on our own too quickly a lot of times.
Right.
Where we just slaughter our own, whereas the left will leave it go. In this case, though, I think you're on the other side of it, where if you leave it go, now he is just, all the left does is parade him out. Look what the Republicans gave you, and like
he's a bleeding sore or something, and he's not going to go away.
He is, and I don't think he's a bad guy. I just think he cannot stop this, and his ardent supporters are the most extreme members of the Christian right. I'm a fairly extreme member of the Christian right, and I relate to the fact that we feel. I'm going to tell you right out. A lot of us in the Christian right feel the party is casting us aside, like what's happening in Indiana, and we feel that the party simply is embarrassed of us, wants us to be silent for their political good. And some of that we understand. We understand. Look, we understand the country is not going to agree with us a lot of things, and we're not representing the party well if we just gush, our views all the time into politics. We understand that, but it gets to a point where we're basically being told to shut up all the time, and so there's a real balance there. One thing I did with Klingenschmidt is that I, just to kind of give people an idea of how bad it was, I put it next to a comment by Reverend Wright after 9/11. Here's Reverend Wright. "We nuked more than the thousands in New York and the Pentagon, and we never batted an eye." So once again, he's saying how, just like Klingenschmidt, he's saying it's because of what our country has done, right? Then he says, "Now we are indignant because the stuff we've done overseas has been brought into our own front yard. America's chickens are coming home to roost." And with that, Reverend Wright looked at all the death that occurred on 9/11 and blamed it on America not applying his politics. And Klingenschmidt blamed what happened to this woman on America not applying his politics.
And that's another thing that's really amazing about this. The demographics in the area that she ran, it was a 2-to-1 voter registration advantage for the Democrats. 2-to-1 advantage for the Democrats.
Twice as many Democrats as Republicans in her district?
And she won by 14 points.